fear is not of God. Fear is of Satan, of evil. And when Daniel was in the lion's den, one of the great things about Daniel is that he did not fear the lion. And I noticed that people who don't have fear, they have true power. And the power is not something you possess of yourself, but it comes from God, right? And those who do have fear lack power, and they're always doing different things to try to create power for themselves, try to make it happen. So fear is not of God. And since fear is, and I'm not talking about practical fear, going in the hood and getting beat up by some black guy or something. I'm talking about the other fear that lives in people who have anger. So fear is not of God. So if fear is not of God, how can it be good?
So I think we have a slight theological difference here. I see everything as coming from God. And I also see fear as an example. Both you and I imagine, have a healthy fear of heaven. The fear of heaven motivates us to do good in this world. And God, the Creator, blessed us with all of these emotions, from courage to fear. And there is within the Jewish philosophy, there is a time and a place for each of these emotions. None of these emotions should govern you. Not one emotion should consume you. You should have the healthy balance. You should be able to channel that fear into good decisions, courage, etc. So I half agree with you, but I see everything as coming from God.
But God does not give us the spirit of fear. That comes from evil. And because anyone that has fear has no peace, they have anger, they worry, they have suicidal thoughts, they get lonely, they are mad about this situation, and they are happy about this situation, they're mad about this. Because in fear, there is no peace. And if you notice, God was a dispassionate, or is a dispassionate God, and Satan is a passionate God. And so human beings who have fear, they're always looking for passion. They're always trying to be passionate about something because they're trying to find peace, perfect peace and passion, and you're never going to get it that way.
I think what you've described makes a lot of sense. The only thing I'd caveat what you said with is, imagine, let's say fear is from, it's not a Jewish belief, but let's just go with your example. Fear is from the devil. Now, if someone just discards fear, they no longer live in fear, they think they're invincible, and they go charging into a dangerous scene where they're just cut down by enemies that are far mightier. They refuse to take health advice because they see that as fearful and ungodly. And they are then consumed by some horrendous virus or disease. Fear can be very healthy when channeled appropriately. And I don't think that fear is... I think that kind of fear is a blessing from God, because it helps us to make calculated and reasoned and logical decisions that lead to better outcomes for us.
I see what you mean. What you don't realize is that when you lack the spirit of fear, you're not going to do anything crazy like that. You're going to have a clear mind. You will have common sense, and common sense protect you from doing crazy things. Whereas spirit of fear causes you to do crazy things, and it prevents you from seeing the right thing to do. It always makes the wrong decision for you. But the fear to have perfect peace, you're going to always you're going to see and do it in the right way. You're not going to do crazy things. It's only when you have fear that you do and think. You think and you do crazy things. Have you noticed that since women have been given the right to vote, that the country going to hell in a handbasket?
Absolutely.
Because women don't make good decisions.
And what evidence do you have to support that stance?
If you notice that, for example, in the Democratic Party, since they got more women representatives, the blacks are relying on government more, They are relying on free stuff. They want reparations. They want everything free.
And that's because of
And
women?
because they have more women voters. I know they have black men in there too, but mostly women. And women tend to approve stuff like that, like abortion and all that. They tend to be emotional because women live in their imagination and emotion. And the decisions are made on how they feel and not what is right, the best thing.
I have to disagree with that. Women are still the minority in Congress and in the Senate, so there's still less women than there are men. So the people who have the majority to vote and the most power are still men. And we talk about women being emotional when it comes to decision making, but historically, women didn't have rights or access to be able to make those decisions. And we still went to wars. We still have famine. We still had disenfranchisement when women didn't even have power. So to say that things have gotten worse when we've seen society progress since women have been a part of the picture just isn't valid, in my opinion.
But have you noticed that there are things that are happening in the country today that when men were ruling would not be? It would not, like
what?
same-sex marriage and abortion and all that.
Yeah.
It would not be, but as soon as women get in position of power, those things come about because women, again, they tend to be emotional and they tend to go the wrong way if they're not led by men. Because of time, Mike, have you forgiven your mother?
Have I what?
Have you forgiven your mother?
Yeah, I've forgiven everybody. I made a point of that.
You told her you forgave her for what she did to you?
She didn't really do anything to me.
She didn't do anything? She didn't do anything to you?
No, she didn't. Not anything that I still need to forgive her for.
So did you forgive her?
Again, I anything that would have been a minor point that I would have needed to forgive her about, I forgave her long ago. I love my mom. We get along great. I've forgiven my father. I've forgiven my...
let me just ask because of time. Did you forgive your mother?
What's that?
Did you forgive your mother for recreating her image?
You even though what?
Did you forgive your mother for recreating you in her image? Turning you away from your father and playing victim and causing you to identify with her. Did you forgive her for that?
Well, she didn't do that.
Why do you think you see your father in the same way she sees him?
Because that's who he was. We both saw it for real, as would my siblings say the same thing. The thing about with my mom is that she became a role model in the person she was, but not in the female that she was. So the way she was willing to work with things, the way she was willing to reach out to people was important to me. And had I chosen my father in all those ways, then I would be like him, and that wasn't what I wanted. Now, here's the you to understand going forward. I have since then, because I knew my father wasn't the right male role model, I have had older males in my life who have become role models like that. People who are men who I respect.
Mike, I'm sorry to cut you off, Mike, but they keep giving me the sign that we are. So give me 2 quick answers. Did you forgive your mother at all for anything?
I have given, for the 5th time, I have forgiven my mom for anything.
Did you tell her that?
Yeah, well, I haven't needed to, but yes.
So you did tell her you forgive her for the stuff she did that you didn't like about her?
There just wasn't enough of it, but yes, we've gotten past any of that. So
you told her you forgave her for those things?
I don't remember exactly when that. However, I haven't had a problem with. I haven't usually have to forgive someone who's hurt you, and I didn't sense it was hurting me, so I haven't needed to forgive her.
But I'm a little confused because on one hand you say yes, you forgave her, and then on the other hand you say you didn't have to forgive her. Either you forgave her or you didn't. Which one?
Any of these small minor points that have gone along the way, like it upset me that she did some little thing or wouldn't let me do whatever. Yes, 100% I have forgiven her for.
Did you tell her that?
Sounds like you're getting at something larger, and there's no larger issue to forgive her for.
One thing I'm trying to find out is, did you tell her, I forgive you for what you did? Whatever what it was. Did you tell her, I forgive you for whatever it was?
I have probably conveyed that in some way or another. I don't remember. She and I have had such a great relationship for so long that there's not really been anything that I've needed to say that for. However, if you go back to when I was 8 or 12 or 15 or some other young age, yes.
So you went to your mother and told her you forgive her for what she did? Give me a quick yes or no because of time.
Yes.
Do you love your insanity?
Do I love my insanity?
Right.
You calling me insane?
No, I'm just asking, do you love it?
Do I love insanity just in general?
In general and within yourself too. Because anyone who has anger is insane.
Why? You don't have anger?
No.
You have no anger.
Zero anger.
What about towards the women that tricked you for 7 years
No.
into thinking that they were chill and wanted to let you do whatever you want and then switch the moment you put a ring on it? No anger?
Back then,
I
had
wasted
anger.
7 years of your life on this lady?
Back then,
That
I had
piss
anger.
you off at all?
Back then, I had anger because I didn't understand that you can overcome anger, right? But since understanding that you can overcome it is an abnormal way of living, I was able to, with the help of God, overcome the spirit of anger. And so he took that identity away from me, and I no longer have it.
You just never get angry.
So far, in the last 32 years, I have not.
32 years, no anger.
No anger. And I dealt with a whole lot of mess.
From the anger before those 32
The
years.
anger of other people, yeah.
Or you're dealing with a whole lot of mess now.
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of mess over the last 32 years.
What do you feel inside?
Nothing.
Someone cuts you off in traffic. What do you feel? Nothing. Just empty.
Zero.
Nothingness.
Right.
You just
right.
Not happiness. You're not. So what are you just moving through the day? Just no feelings of any kind.
Thank God I moved through the day with total peace.
You go to get a coffee, person in front of you orders a complicated drink, and you're late. You just even keel, just relaxed.
Absolutely.
You just
and yet I deal with situations so far, but I don't get angry about the situation.
You should get pissed off. It's fun.
No,
you haven't been pissed off in 32 years. You got to go on like a retreat or something, and where you can just break shit or yell at people. I
used to be that way, so I know the insanity of anger. I know people who are angry. They have fear. They have doubt. They worry. They stressed out. They are looking for love. They are insecure. They live in their imagination because of the spirit of anger.
No.
God is the man's God, and Satan is the woman's God. And the woman's God that worked through the woman.
Yo, I'm glad that your words are not my words. This is okay. Yo, whoa, hey. Jesse said, God is the man of God and Satan is the woman.
Yeah, the God above is the man's God, and the God below is the woman's God.
Oh, yeah. You have a lot of women that watch this channel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That attend my meetings and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's funny. I'm actually... Hey, man. Listen. These ways.
And then women, because they're jealous of the man.
Yeah.
And it's not them per se, but it's that wicked spirit that made a home in them, which is of the God, the devil, right? It's jealous of man because he represents the Son of God. All men represent the Son of God, even when they're weak. And so the daughter of Satan is jealous of that. And that's why she tried to make men be like her rather than coming into the man's world. And because the men have not overcome their mothers, the nature of their mothers, they're afraid to deal with the woman in the right way because they never overcame their mother. And so the women get away with it when they really want you to be strong to bring them out of the hell that they live in. But most men go into the hell of the woman and it's just hell, catch hell. What do you think is wrong with the blacks? They're just like their mothers. They hate their mothers and grandmothers.
think
and
so.
the anger of a man is that of a woman, of his mother. And that's why black men act just like the black women. They overreact, they are angry, and the mama is their God. The woman is his God because the mother is his God.
I've heard a similar saying like around that as well, where a lot of guys are. It's like their mom, like
They have the spirit of the mother.
They put their mom on a high pedestal, and that's it. But like
any man that has anger is just like his mother. He's been recreated in his mother's image and not his father's image.
yeah,
You mentioned that the Adam and Eve story. Is it true that evil of this world come through the woman?
Comes through the woman?
Yes.
I don't believe so.
Why
Because
not?
because I can't quote it perfectly, but I believe that it's because of what Adam did that we have fallen. Because she was deceived and Adam was aware that that was the wrong thing to do. So I think it's because of what Adam did. And I mean, unless you want to say that because of Eve saying that to him, he gave in to his lustful nature to please his wife and did it. I guess you could say it's a woman's fault if you're going to do it that way. But I believe the Bible makes it clear that it's Adam.
So when the woman listened to the devil, she disobeyed her husband. And she listened to the devil, did Satan become her daddy, her God?
Never thought of it that way. Well, yeah, she definitely disobeyed. She was in the wrong for sure.
Right, because remember before she listened to the devil, she was listening to her husband. She obeyed her husband, who obeyed his father, and things were fine. And then one day she went shopping out in the field there, wherever they live, the garden.
Yeah.
Adam said, "Go and get some breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. When I come back home, I want breakfast." So she went shopping, and while shopping, she met up with Satan. And Satan was like, "Eve, what you doing listening to Adam? You could be your own woman." And and she like, "No, devil. Adam, I'm listening to my husband. I am obeying my husband." And so she went home and she told Adam, "I was at the market today and I saw Satan and he tried to convince me to listen to him and not you." And Adam was like, "Yeah, stay away from the devil." Because the devil had tempted Adam too, but he said no. He rebuked the devil. And so she said, "Okay, everything's fine." And long story short, she went shopping another day and Satan was at the market again. And he was like, "Eve, you still listen to that man? You can be your own woman. You can be liberated. You can vote. Take off your bra. You can kill the babies in the womb." And Adam was like, "Cool." Eve was like, "Cool." So she listened to Satan. And at that very point, Satan became her God, and she would no longer obey her husband. And then she went home and told Adam, "Adam, I'm my own woman. You can't tell me what to do. I'm taking off my bra. I'm protesting. I want the right to vote." And Adam was like, "What happened?" "I listened to the devil. He's not my God. He's my boss, not you." And then Adam listened to the woman because she said, "Don't listen to your father anymore. You need to listen to me." And Adam listened to the woman. And the moment he listened to the woman became his God. So today, Satan is the woman's God, and the woman is the man's God. That's why men are afraid of women. And but Christ came so that we can forgive our mothers who really set us up to listen to the woman, because most men are all men are afraid of mothers. She turned them away from the father. And now men are afraid of women because mama is their God. But Christ came so he defeated the devil, and we can return, once we forgive our mothers and our fathers for not protecting us from the woman, then because the father afraid of the woman too, he's married to his mama. And so the woman will no longer be the man's God, and he can show her how to overcome the hell that's in her. What do you think about that?
I have never heard that before.
When would enough be enough for the blacks? When would they say, "Okay, white people, we got it"? how much more will they continue to beg, blame, and fight for free? How long? For free stuff. How long?
Well, I think everyone's fighting for free stuff
No,
right now.
I'm talking
so I
about
don't
the
think that's
blacks.
specific to
When will
black
the
people.
blacks be saying, okay, white folks, that's enough. Thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Well, I want to say two things there, Jesse.
Can
I
you
think
answer that first, though?
Well, it's based on a premise that I don't agree with, so I have to explain
you
why I
don't-
don't agree with that.
Really? Why not?
I don't think that there is a specific thing of black people that are receiving some special dispensation that has been specifically benefiting them, and that, in fact, if anything, if you look at the welfare state, the purpose of the welfare state, which was something that had originally been tried with the Native Americans and was successful, was to break up the black family. You know, if you think about during slavery, during Jim Crow, during all of these different things, during things like
what's a
Greenwood
Native
Massacre,
American?
with Black Wall Street, with all of those things, what kept black communities being able to pick up from those and then thrive, and in some cases do better than the white people in those same areas, was the fact that they had such a strong family unit.
Right.
And the purpose of the welfare state was explicitly to break that up. That was LBJ's main purpose there, right?
But
similar
the
thing
civil
with
rights
affirmative
leaders
action.
supported that.
Well,
Martin Luther King and all those people supported that.
Oh, I will. Here's something we absolutely agree on. I think that we all should have been listening to Booker T. Washington and Malcolm X and ignoring people like Martin Luther. Well, I shouldn't say ignoring people like Martin Luther King.
Ignore
we certainly
him.
should have been ignoring W.E.B. Du Bois. And
Yeah.
I think that Martin Luther King, if I were in that area, I would have cared a lot more about what Malcolm X or what Booker Washington prior to them had said than because what the thing is, Martin Luther King and W.E.B. Du Bois were people that were put forward by white liberals to present to black people that their way forward wasn't economic liberty or social liberty, but political freedom or political power.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you are telling a minority that the way that they should achieve power is to appeal to a majority rule system, you're scamming them. That's the ultimate scam, to tell a minority, here, use the majority rule system where you're reliant on the majority, even though you're already walking in as the minority. Instead of, you should be building up your families, you should be building up your businesses and your communities. So on that, I think we probably agree 100%.
We do.
But what that would mean is that I don't see welfare as free stuff. I don't see
It is free.
the welfare
They're not
state.
earning it. They're laying upon their backs having babies.
I think it comes with the strings attached of destroying the basis of what was able to keep black people thriving in much worse conditions in the past.
Yes.
So I think it actually was a net harm to black people. And I think you could argue that it was intentionally so. And if it certainly wasn't intentionally so initially, it was definitely intentionally so moving forward from there.
Let me ask you, because of
so that's
time-
why I when you say enough is enough, I think it's more about black people and really everyone realizing that anytime government gives you something, it comes with so many strings attached that it largely ends up leading to a net harm to you and everything you care about.
So you are afraid of getting old?
Yeah, is that a thing? Is that a phobia?
Yeah.
I think it's a thing. I'm
Because
very scared.
Death is just a word. There's no meaning to it.
Yeah.
So, and you're afraid
Death
of
is just a word. There's no meaning.
Right.
I disagree.
No, it's just a word. If you think of the word death and don't put any meaning to it,
It's just a word.
It's
okay.
just a word.
Yeah, but then where do we go when we die?
it all depends on how you die.
What?
Yeah.
How does it depend on how you die?
If you die a free person, if we leave this earth a free person, you will live to be free. But if you die a person enslaved, you will be enslaved forever
How are you enslaved?
in your own mind.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. It's
Very
in the
deep.
mind, it's not real.
Okay,
Amazing, huh?
that's deep. I'm not gonna lie. It's very deep.
Yeah. Do you believe that all thoughts are all lies all the time, no such thing as a true thought? Except for practical thoughts, how to build a house, how to have a meal. But do you believe that all thoughts of the imagination is a lie?
I believe because we're created in the image of God, that there's some thoughts and ideas, if they reflect our Creator, are good. If those thoughts do not reflect the Creator, then they're not good thoughts.
But do you believe that the imagination is a lie?
When you say imagination, because
Well, you know, God said bring all thoughts into captivity. And the reason for that, because all thoughts are of the devil and not of him. And when you believe a thought, you believe it and worshiping the devil. So that's why he said, bring every one of them into captivity. And that my voice is a voiceless voice, and my children shall know me by that, by the revelation, and not by the thoughts. But I noticed that a lot of Christians still believe in the thoughts, and they worship the devil thinking that they're worshiping God.
On that, I would say that that passage you referred to in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, he says, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war in the flesh. In other words, the conflict that the believers were experiencing, and Paul's apostleship was in question in that particular epistle, that second letter to the church in Corinth. And he's saying that I am not fighting your spiritual battles through carnal means, through hateful words or hateful actions.
Yeah.
He says, I'm taking those thoughts captive, then I'm bringing those thoughts to the obedience of Christ until your obedience is fulfilled.
And
So-
that's the imagination, all right?
Yeah, he's literally saying, I am going to bring every thought, I'm going to scrutinize everything that happens under the lordship of Jesus Christ. So what we have to do with our thoughts, we have to have biblical words to replace those thoughts, but we have to be willing to scrutinize and analyze our thoughts in light of the scriptures.
But human beings don't know good. They don't know what's good, and they don't know what's right. It has to be, once they're born of the Spirit of God, He will show them what's good. And the thoughts are never good. There's no such thing as, do you create your own thoughts?
Well, the source of everything good is God. God created the mind, the brain, but it's been affected by the fall. But the doctrines that that was used years ago to describe it was called total or radical depravity. In other words, every part of our human makeup has been affected by the fall. So therefore, our thoughts have been affected.
Do you create your own thoughts?
I am responsible for all of my sinful thoughts. God gets the glory for all of the good thoughts.
Do you create your own thoughts?
I'm responsible for all of my sinful thoughts. Now, when you say
So
create,
are you saying are you saying the reason you're saying you're responsible for them is because you create them?
I guess the word create for me, I think of ex nihilo. In
You
other
think of
words,
what?
ex nihilo, it means I created something out of nothing. So I won't use the word create, but I would use the word responsible. I am responsible
If
for
you
those
don't
thoughts.
create them, how are you responsible for them?
Because they're mine.
And how they're yours?
Because they came from my mind.
And so the bad thoughts that come from your mind, they're yours too?
Yes.
And the good thoughts that come from your mind, they're yours too?
The good thoughts, no, those are from God.
And so the bad thoughts are from you, and the good thoughts are from God?
Yes.
What and why would you create bad thoughts from your own mind?
Because I'm still struggling with sin. I would love to have a mind that was sinless and perfect,
But why would you do it then?
but it's not. By the grace of God, I'm growing. I would say this, I am not what I would like to be, but by the grace of God, I'm not what I used to be.
Is there a possibility?
There's been growth in that area, but there's room for improvement in the mind.
Is there a possibility you're not creating the bad thoughts either? They are from the devil?
I think on the level of responsibility, the devil is not to be blamed for any thoughts, but he encourages them. He provides an opportunity to have those thoughts, whether it's lustful thoughts on the billboard or on the television show. He's a prince of the power of the air. He monopolizes on the moments to those thoughts when they first come to my mind, and I'm tempted as Jesus was. If I resist the temptation and say, well, it is written, the scripture says, I love the Lord my God. I think thoughts that are biblical. That is a temptation. It's not a sin. The adversary wants me to give into that temptation to pursue the sinful thoughts and to encourage those sinful thoughts. So
the adversary, the devil, who made a home in your mind, in the flesh,
no, he cannot make
and emotion.
He cannot make me personally, as I see the scripture. He cannot abide in me if I'm in Christ, but certainly the believer. I've been freed from him. I'm in the domain of light. But these are my sins, not his. But what he does is he monopolizes. He takes advantage of them, and he will tempt me to give into those thoughts.
Why don't you get rid of all of them?
As by the grace of God, they're dropping day by day. But as I would tell you, I can't guarantee that tomorrow will be any different. My
Good.
trust is in God.
Do you believe that racism exists?
Of course.
Do you have any proof of that?
Yeah.
Well, give me an example of proof.
Proof that racism exists?
Right.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You can't even be serious.
Why not?
Slavery? How about we take decades, the 50s, the 60s? I'm talking to you. Do you believe racism exists?
No.
You don't? You don't believe racism exists?
I know racism doesn't exist.
How so?
But first, I'll answer that, but I want to hear your opinion.
You know what?
First.
You did ask me, and I'll answer that.
Yeah. Give me proof that racism has ever existed.
I've dated black women, plenty of them, and I've been hated because of it. I've been threatened because of it. I believe racism is also intent to harm, not just ignorance. I believe it's intent to harm. And when someone wants to harm me because I'm dating a woman of color, I would call that racism, and I've experienced it firsthand many times.
So other black people resented you for dating black women?
Not only black people, white people also resented me for dating that black woman.
And
it wasn't just one-sided.
And so whites and blacks there are some whites and some blacks that resented you. Did you know that once you go black, you can't go back?
Yes, you can. Did you know you can? You can go Mexican, Puerto Rican, Asian, you can go wherever you want.
Amazing. And so,
but wait, now hold on, I answered your question.
Racism.
Tell me about how racism doesn't exist.
Okay, let me respond to what you said, then I will. That wasn't racism, it's just people were angry and hating you because you were dating a black woman or a black woman.
Okay.
But that was because you had it from both sides.
But they weren't just angry and hating me, I'm telling you, they threatened me.
Right, that's still hatred.
So I'm saying that's intent to harm,
right,
and that's where I think the racism comes in.
No, that comes from hate. That's come from anger.
Okay, so let's hear your explanation.
And I grew up on a plantation in Alabama.
You're blowing my mind. Oh, am I allowed to cuss on this?
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind right now.
And I grew up during the Jim Crow era, too. I remember when they were for colors.
The water fountains and
color signs
and the restaurants and everything.
Right.
You remember this. You lived it. You don't. You're not just hearing it. You lived it. How old are you?
73.
Okay, so why do you believe it doesn't exist then? I'm super interested in hearing this.
One other thing, I went to a movie theater when I was a teenager in Alabama once, and the blacks had to sit in the balcony, and the white folks sat downstairs because we weren't allowed to sit together.
Oh, yeah.
But it was fun up there because we had a better view.
That's only something you can say. I can't say that shit.
Why can't you say that?
Well, I always thought, when they told Rosa Parks to go to the back of the bus was the best spot to be in the back of. That's the best spot of the bus. I get her whole stance like, nah, you're not telling me what to do.
Right.
But the back of the bus is where it's at.
Because when you get on the bus now, the first thing you go into the back so you can relax and see who's coming on and
people
kind of
watch.
Right.
Yeah.
That whole Rosa Parks thing was a fluke. It was.
You're tripping me out, dude. Hold on. Go back. You just told me you grew up in the Jim Crow era, you grew up on a plantation, and you're still, how does racism not exist? Please, because I want to hear this. I'm genuinely interested in this side of your opinion here.
During those days, black people and white people understood that our battle was a spiritual battle, that it was a warfare between good and evil. There's evil in some people, there's good in others. And evil hate good. And it had nothing to do with color, it had nothing to do with male or female, it was just right or wrong. And so we knew that the Jim Crow era was about the Democrats not wanting blacks to be a part of the Democratic Party. And that's why the Republican Party was started by blacks and whites, because they started their own party, they couldn't be a part of the Democratic Party. Even with the KKK, they were not fighting the blacks because of their color. They were fighting them because when they started the Republican Party, they became congressmen, they became leaders in the government, and they were gathering a lot of power. And so the KKK and others were fighting them for political reason, not color reason. It was only later in life that they ventured off and said it's about color. It never was. And so the blacks and the whites knew it was about spiritual, that you either have anger or you have love in your heart. And so the blacks and the whites got along that knew that. It was only when Martin Luther King and all those guys came along and they created a false idea of racism. They created the civil rights movement in order to divide and conquer for power and wealth for themselves. Even Rosa Parks' thing was a fluke because they had another woman to do that thing that Rosa Parks supposed to have done on the bus. And the NAACP has found another black woman to do that, but before she can do it, they found out she was pregnant out of wedlock. And in those days, it was an embarrassment to be pregnant out of wedlock. And they were like, no, we can't use this woman pregnant. And so they got rid of her and they found Rosa, and it was a setup.
But
isn't that amazing?
Great story, but you still don't believe decades, generations of suppression has anything to do with the color of your skin or racism.
Because
Wow.
blacks are more suppressive
Wow.
toward each other than whites are to blacks. What is a man?
Biologically, XY chromosome, or are we talking about what's a man?
Are we talking birthing people?
I think. I mean, I don't know. You go first, Merce. You get this one first. I get a copy of your homework.
A man, to me, is somebody who takes care of his responsibilities and takes care of the people he loves and doesn't fuck people over and is honest. And that, to me, is the definition of a man. A man is somebody who tries to take care of his people around him and make the world not as messed up of a place as he as when he got there. That's what I think a man is.
And what do you say?
A provider. I think I go back to the go hunting, bring food, protect your family or protect your tribe, as it were.
Protect your neck.
Or
really.
protect your neck. But no, you're a provider. You protect your family. You take care of them at all costs, even if it means sacrificing yourself.
Amazing. Do you obey your husband?
It's really difficult for me. I have this independent streak that I cultivated through my career, and so I have a really hard time doing that. And it was really difficult dating for me because I only wanted to date a man that was more dominant than I was.
Yeah.
But because I had developed this really dominant personality, it left just this tiny percentage of men that I could even be attracted to. And I put myself in that position. But I have always kind of been like that. And so if a woman, I always wish that I had a more sweet and docile personality, but I just don't. So.
And so how does your husband deal with that dominant personality of yours?
Because he's more dominant than I am.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm very neurotic, and he has virtually no neuroses. And so I just try to listen to him, and when he lays down the law, I listen, but I just like compulsively push it. I do the shit test, and then I realize what I'm doing. And then, being a red-pilled woman is also a difficult thing because you see in yourself all these qualities that you hate in women. But it is so hard not to allow them to manifest. And so even though I've been doing this, my YouTube channel for years and years, I still catch myself doing this stuff in my marriage. And I'm like, stop. Like, I can't do stuff like this. But there must be some kind of biological mechanism that makes us this way. I don't know. It does lead to a certain degree of self-loathing, though.
Does it feel like something is controlling you and causing you to think and act out, and you're not in control of it?
No, I mean, I don't want to act like I have no autonomy, but my behavior like that, it feels like I'm behaving like an impulsive child.
Right.
So like I have less impulse control than I should as an adult. That's how I feel with my behavior. So, I really try to like be aware when I'm nagging or, when I'm doing these typical female things, and that helps me with the behavior. But like, it's just incredible to me that I still do things like this. It really does make me hate myself, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it every day.
What do you think about men who allow women to beat on them? to smack them, curse them
Oh,
out.
equal rights, equal lefts, baby. And I know the conservatives will not agree with me on this one, but if she hits you, hit back. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, I'm not. I used to think never hit a woman. Okay, I used to believe this.
Really?
Yeah, and then, but it was because where I grew up, if anyone hit a girl, like a girl hit a guy, I would be like, you know, and so I'm like, okay. But I saw the punches that these bitches be throwing. I'm like, if you want to hit like a dude, expect to get hit like a dude. Because you don't go up to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and punch him. If you got punched back, no one would feel bad for you. But these girls will punch a dude, and then if he hits back, everyone's mad. It's like, she hit him first.
Plus, there are laws that says that men cannot defend himself from a woman.
There's laws?
Yeah, if a man should hit a woman, he's going to jail right away.
Stop.
Even if the woman called the cop and said, oh, my husband or my boyfriend just beat me, right? Mm-hmm. Or he hit me. Mm-hmm. And she made it up. It wasn't even true. So the cops go out to the house, mm-hmm. and the lady said, oh, it really didn't happen. Mm-hmm. I changed my mind, it didn't happen. They arrest the guy anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's like patterns. Doing the show for so long, there's like patterns I see with girls, and there's like the abuse pattern, and it's like, these girls will scream abuse, but then when I ask questions, I'll be like, what? I'll be like, did you press charges? No. Okay, why? If someone punches me in the face, I'm pressing charges. That doesn't really make sense. And like, so what happened? And they'll kind of like leave out the part where they hit him first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if you guys are hitting each other, that's not abuse, that's just a toxic relationship. Y'all were hitting each other. Stop it. Stop it. I will not.
I was surprised to learn that men allow women to beat on them or hit them like that, mm-hmm. Because I wasn't raised that way either. Mm-hmm. If a woman hit me like, she going down. She going down. I would never tolerate that. You know, mm-hmm. I mean, men and women shouldn't be fighting it, period. Mm-hmm. But it can't be one-sided like that. Mm-hmm. Because when you allow that to happen, you just bring out the worst in the person. Mm-hmm. Because if they know they could hit on you or whatever, mm-hmm. and you're not going to defend yourself, mm-hmm. they get worse.
Yeah, and the girls will make excuses too. They'll be like, oh, it was just a toxic relationship. Like, you don't know what you would do in that situation. And I'm just like, no. I've been in relationships where things happened where I could have acted crazy, but now you are just insane. Stop it. Do not put all of girls in that because you're insane. I will not do that.
That's amazing.
I will not do that. You are either crazy or you're not crazy. You didn't act crazy. That's the other thing. They say I acted crazy. No, you're just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
Is that a good thing to have a white standard? Is the white standard a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know if it's good or bad. I think that it's limiting because the white standard, very few people can live up to it. So when I say white standard, I mean whiteness in terms of white, cis, and when I say cis, meaning like the sex that you're assigned at birth is matches your gender. So white, cis, male, heterosexual, Christian, able-bodied, neurotypical, like that's wealthy, educated. That's the white standard, right. And so very few people can actually live up to that, and it actually creates like poor mental health and well-being to try to strive for that when that's not who you are.
What made who made, was it God? Who made white people smarter than the rest of the folks on earth?
I don't know. I don't know how many people actually believe that. But I mean, I think that
because you said that it's so hard for others to live up to that high standard of white people, and so I want to know that God made white people better, where everybody else is trying to live up to their standards.
I mean, I guess I believe that a higher power made us all equal, and I think that particular European people had money and power to be able to create a story that said that they were better.
Did they get that money from God?
I mean, I don't believe in a God that gives people money, right? So I think that people I can't even go through a long history of like how did these European countries get power? How did they become colonizers? over all of these brown and black countries. I mean, I think that's the story of colonization. It's how did these European countries take power over India and different countries in Africa and in the Caribbean and South America. So what happened in these European countries hundreds and hundreds of years ago that made them, instead of collaborate with these black and brown countries, make them take power over these countries?
You've done a lot of study on these things, and it's fascinating to you to try to figure out how white people became smarter than the rest of the world or anybody else in the world. Is that fascinating to study that and to try to come up to that standard?
I think it's fascinating that white people created a story that they were smarter. I don't actually think that they are. I think that they created a story that they were smarter.
So you don't
that
believe
has lasted.
You don't believe the story?
No, and I think that we are missing out. I think we are missing out on all the other geniuses and all the other talents and abilities by continuing with that narrative.
Would you ever tell a woman your problems?
That's a good ass question. Man, that was a good question. Yeah.
You would? Why?
Because you need to know what I got going on.
But they can't do anything about it.
It matters how you look at women. Women are very powerful.
No.
Women are, you don't think women is powerful?
There is no such thing as a powerful woman. Just weak men, but not powerful women.
What?
Yeah.
Explain. I don't understand that.
Women are very weak because they live in their imagination. They're very emotional. And they live in hell because they have anger and they live in their imagination. So they are very emotional and all their decisions are based on what they think and all their thoughts come from hell.
So you think women the devil?
Yeah, the daughter of the devil. The devil dwells in them. That's why they're so...
You like having sex with women though, right?
Oh, I have, yeah. I mean, yeah, love
what
it.
You mean? You stuttering and shit.
But I now become overcoming it. But have you noticed that every time a man follows a woman, he suffers? Every time he listens to her, every time he follows, he suffers?
I feel like I feel like men should listen to a woman, but I agree with you. I don't think a man should follow a woman though. Yeah.
He suffers every time it happens. Because of the order of God, God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children.
I feel you. I agree with you on that. I agree with men should lead.
Yeah.
Always.
And so,
but men should listen too.
To a woman?
Yes.
Why?
Sure.
I mean, they can listen to him. As far as sex, I used to be into sex a lot, so I know what that's like, right?
Yeah.
But as far as he should listen to it, because women are lower to the ground. They live in hell, so they can pick up.
Who do you think more loyal, men or women?
It used to be men because of the order of God, but neither one at this point.
Damn.
Who did you grow up closer to, your father or your mother?
Probably my mom.
You did?
My dad taught school. He taught 8th grade, and we also had 8 kids. So he had pretty much one volume, which was high. So I think I was closer to my mom just because we were a little nervous around Dad.
Right.
Just a little. We didn't want to make him mad.
She was nervous around him too?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
She ruled over him?
No, she didn't. She definitely kind of let him rule the house. But she wasn't like scared or anything like that. I think it was just the kids. So you're like, oh crap, don't do anything wrong. Don't.
Your wife, does she rule over you? Is she like your mother? Have you noticed she's just like your mama?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, cause my mom was very, she was an angel. She's the closest to an angel on earth I've ever seen or been around.
An angel from hell or heaven?
Heaven, my mom.
Really?
An angel from heaven, yes. The sweetest, nicest.
I bet your
ever.
dad don't feel that way.
No, my mom passed a few years ago, and so that's my dad. Every time I'm up there, my dad just talks about my mom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm glad she gone.
No,
It
no,
was
no,
hell.
no. He's like finding old pictures of her, blowing them up into bigger. Like he's basically made a shrine to her with all the pictures of her that he's found and had blown up, and she was super sweet. Yeah.
Were you surprised she recreated you in her image because you're just like her?
Oh, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said. She was wonderful.
Are you okay that she recreated you in her image?
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
What? Nah.
My mom, she's the sweetest.
Amazing.
She's the sweetest. Yeah, just.
Where is she now?
Kindest. Well, she passed away. 6, 7, 8 years ago now. So she's gone. Hopefully, she's in heaven. Watching over me.
So did she do anything wrong at all that irritates you a little bit when you were growing up?
I really don't know that she did. She was the sweetest, nicest.
Sometimes those are the worst ones.
No, she was. We had 8 kids, 6 boys.
Your dad made boys first?
Pardon?
Your daddy made boys first?
Let's see. He had 2 boys, then a girl.
Alpha male. Real man made boys first.
Oh. So I was towards the bottom.
But he made boys first. Did you make boys first?
Pardon?
Did you make boys first or girls?
I have all girls. So
what a beta.
I didn't know.
Do you believe that God is the Son of God? I mean, Christ is the Son of God or God?
He's the Son of God.
And what do you think about those people who say that he is God?
What's the difference?
What do you say about those people who think Jesus is God?
I don't think anything.
But you don't believe that Jesus is God, right?
I do.
Oh, so you don't believe he's the Son? You believe he's the Father?
I think. Well, he came out of the Father.
Do you believe he's
so how can he be separated? How can your
son
if
he came from the Father, how can he be the Father if he came from the Father?
How come that's bloodline, man? Your son is your bloodline.
Right, but he's not my father.
Huh?
He's not my father, though. Right? He's my son.
Okay.
And so if Jesus came from the Father, how can he be the Father?
Okay. So, well, we can argue about that all day long.
No, I'm asking. I'm just asking, not an argument. I'm asking if Jesus came from the Father, how can he be the Father?
Because the Bible he said, me and my Father are one.
Right, but so how can it be me and my Father are one? He didn't say I'm the Father.
So if you're one, then that means you're with the Father.
So do you have any kids?
If me and my Father are one, then it's my Father.
Do you have any kids?
Absolutely. I got grandkids.
And so are they the father to you?
No, they're not. They're my parents.
Are they your sons?
You got to realize.
Are they your sons and daughters, or are you your father?
Hold on a second, Jesse. But see, now we're talking about somebody that came through a woman. Jesus didn't come through no woman.
Amazing. Jesus didn't come through the woman?
I mean, as a result of a man.
What?
Yeah, he came
but your
through
kid came through. Your kids came through their mother as a result of a man.
But as a result of me.
Right. So you're a man. So are they your daddy?
No, they're not my daddy.
They're your sons, right?
Yeah.
I rest my case.